In the news tonight, police SWAT commander under close arrest. Guyanese woman killed in U.S. by husband who took his own life. And it's unreasonable to compare Guyana's oil deal with other oil-rich countries. News in depth begins now.
With the first edition of the news, I'm Royston Drakes. Thanks for joining us. We begin the news tonight by telling you that SWAT commander removed from post over an allegation of smuggled Johnny Walker. Moti Duki, the Deputy Superintendent of Police and head of the Special Weapons and Tactics Unit, remains under close arrest as the police continue their probe into the 30 cases of alleged smuggled Johnny Walker whiskey. The liquor was busted at a police roadblock at Wim on the Quarantine Beach last Friday. The Police Public Relations Department said the commander of the SWAT was in a minibus on the Wim Public Road Quarantine when it was stopped by the police anti-crime patrol. A search of the vehicle unearthed 30 cases of whiskey. According to the release, the officer and the driver of the minibus were the only occupants of the vehicle. It is alleged that the SWAT team commander told Rangs that the whiskey was to be used for a police party. The officer, who is also based at police headquarters, was not permitted by his commanding officer to leave Georgetown, according to the police report. Police sources told this newscast that the enforcement arm of the Guyana Revenue Authority will now be called in to investigate the matter and could call upon the officer to produce the documentation needed for the liquor. In recent times, the Guyana Revenue Authority and the Guyana Police Force have stepped up the fight against smuggling across our porous borders. Duki was recently appointed as head of the Special Weapons and Tactics Unit, SWAT, replacing Lonsdale Whitwright, who was removed from the post after his gun was stolen during a robbery. More news after this break. Stay with us.
Hey, looky there. Let me go techie boots.
Boots? No, man, I ain't gonna get like a thief in a big stinky 30-second boots. Plus, it gonna be more cheaper online. And don't got my favorite color, pink. Let me go along.
Online shopping. Cheaper, faster, better. Passback.
Introducing the new Softex toilet tissue, now available across Guyana. Softex is silky smooth because it's made from virgin pulp. Softex is soft and gentle to every touch. Even babies can use it. Manufactured and distributed.
Some sad news to report right now on News in Depth. 2 Guyanese families are mourning the loss of their loved ones. 2 Guyanese families were plunged into mourning following a murder-suicide in Queens, New York in the U.S. on New Year's Day. Reports coming out of the New York daily newspapers in the U.S. indicated that the couple shared an abusive relationship which ended tragically. Stacy Singh was stabbed repeatedly in the back and left face down in the couple's Richmond Hill home on 103 Avenue near 113th Street. Her husband was found hanging from a tree in a city park some 1.5 miles away from the murder scene. He was identified as 46-year-old Vinny Nuknot. The authorities in the U.S. said the bodies were found 3 hours apart. A knife suspected to be the murder weapon was found near the woman's body when the police arrived on the scene at the couple's home. Luknot's brother-in-law, Roman Shaw, told the Daily News that Luknot was very abusive to her. According to him, she stayed with him no matter what because they had 2 kids together. He also told the news outlet that she was hoping for him to change, but he never did. According to Shaw, Luknot was drinking heavily and using cocaine when family members gathered on New Year's Eve at a Queens restaurant. A neighbor said the couple fought consistently, recalling one incident that ended with the battered wife leaving their home in an ambulance. Family members of the woman said she was very caring and loving to her children, and for the sake of her kids, she would always try to work things out with her husband. Luknot was a construction worker. The couple have a 5-year-old son and a 1-year-old daughter. Stacy Singh lived in Nova Maikoni before she migrated from Guyana 5 years ago.
a man's beer.
Caribbean rice, from the lush rice fields of Guyana, straight to your home. Caribbean rice, our people, our rice.
Let's tell you now that ExxonMobil said the agreement signed with the Guyana government is a good one for both parties.
It is unreasonable to compare the agreement signed with Guyana against those signed with more matured oil and gas countries, says ExxonMobil's country manager Ron Henson.
It's even more so to cherry pick single elements of an agreement and do that. You have to look at the entirety of the agreement, and you have to look at the conditions that were in existence at the time the agreement was made.
Under the renegotiated contract, ExxonMobil received additional time to conduct exploration, while Guyana is to receive in excess of US $1.5 billion after 5 years of production and over US $7 billion over the life of the project. US $300,000 annually in training fees for locals, an increase from US $45,000, and US $300,000 annually for social responsibility and environmental support, among other benefits. Additionally, Henson said oil production is set to begin in March 2020 with an estimated 100,000 barrels per day. He explained that Phase 1 of the project includes 17 wells that will form part of the Liza field.
Is when production would start, and it'll be somewhere between 100,000 and 120,000 barrels a day. That's our estimate. We continue to try to accelerate on that. I'll tell you though, try to do it as quickly as we safely can.
And that's a wrap for this edition of News in Depth. Do join us again same time tomorrow for another edition.